Senate File 166 directs the Department of Public Safety to implement a Real ID compliant driver's license and identification card. Real ID passed in 2005 and sets minimum identity authentication standards for state IDs if they're going to be used for federal purposes, namely for boarding aircraft, entering a secure federal facility, and for some federal buildings. Following the passage of the federal law, several states initially enacted legislation expressly in opposition to or barring the federal mandates. Minnesota was one such state. The 2009 legislature enacted the Real ID Act prohibiting both state planning and implementation. State responses have changed over time, and nearly all states and U.S. territories are either in full compliance with the federal law or are in the process of meeting its requirements. In 2016, the legislature partially lifted the Minnesota ban, allowing planning but not actual implementation or administrative rulemaking. The timeline for the acceptance of the federal timeline for the acceptance of Real ID and identification cards has been moving along as time goes on. Since October 2015, non-compliant licenses and ID cards are no longer accepted for entering various secured federal facilities when identification is necessary for access, unless the jurisdiction's been granted an extension. Minnesota does not have this extension, so Minnesota issued IDs and identification cards are not accepted as valid identification in some federal secured facilities such as military bases. In fact, I got an email from a mother whose son was down in Kansas at a military base in the infirmary, and she wasn't allowed on base in order to visit. Beginning January 22nd of next year, non-compliant cards will no longer be accepted for boarding commercial aircraft unless extension has been granted by the Department of Homeland Security. And then beginning October 1st of 2020, only Real ID compliant licenses and cards will be accepted for federal purposes. So there will be no more extensions beyond that.
The business community does want to see Minnesota become compliant. First and foremost, there are significant concerns about what disruptions to commerce might come in about a year from now if we aren't able to use our licenses to board federally regulated air travel. But even more than that, while that is a concern a year off, already a number of employers in Minnesota who require their employees to have regular access to federal facilities and secure sites have already had challenges getting their employees into those sites because of the fact that a Real ID is already required to access those sites.
10 years ago when they got on an airplane, their driver's license was enough. So they show up at the airport, they're there with their kids, they're excited about this one-time family vacation, and they're going to get to that TSA security line, and they're going to be told, we're sorry, you can't travel, and your airline tickets are non-refundable. So again, every morning I sit with my stack of files and I look at my clients who I care about very much. I've been doing this for 12 years. And I think, next year, what is this going to look like? How many of these people are going to be roadblocked or limited in their travels? For them, a $300 airline ticket is very, very expensive. So you can bet that a $110 passport is going to be a significant burden for them. If we don't pass this law or this rule, it's not going to be the road warrior business travelers that are going to be affected. Most of them have their passports. It's not going to be the wealthy who do world traveling. They also have all the documentation they need. But it's going to be our next door neighbors. It's going to be that family that doesn't travel all the time, that senior citizen that has that special person in their life that they want to visit one last time because there's a health crisis or an emergency. The college student that has no idea when they're in Iowa that they're not going to be able to get on a flight with their Minnesota driver's license. These are the people I'd like you to consider as you look at this Real ID Act and as you consider all the ramifications.
Happening with Real ID is a different kind of inducement, a form of hostage taking. They're telling you that they're going to threaten to hold up Minnesota's travelers if you don't comply with federal mandates about licensing. Well, I think the best advice in the area of hostage taking is the common sense advice. Don't give in to hostage takers. When push comes to shove, the Department of Homeland Security will back away from the deadline that people on the earlier panel were citing as though it were sacrosanct. Well, In truth, the original deadline for compliance with Real ID was May of 2008, 3 years after the law passed. No state was in compliance. Many states, as Senator Pratt mentioned, passed resolutions or laws barring themselves from compliance. And the Department of Homeland Security moved back the deadline.
We acknowledge that Minnesota is currently in a difficult position due to the demands from the Department of Homeland Security. The ACLU's primary concern with Real ID has always been its potential function as an internal passport or national ID card that could be increasingly used to track and control individuals' movements and activities. The Federal Act includes troubling requirements, most of which have been discussed already today, but I would point out the presentation and verification of source documents and the construction of that 50-state interlinked database, making all information in a person's file available to the other states and the federal government.
We have the federal government demanding us to comply. We have a Department of Homeland Security that will manage potentially data. They'll impose certain restrictions on the people of Minnesota, but they refuse. I say they refuse to come and answer any questions, forcing the states to comply with not a person, not a spokesman, but just a federal registry that gets printed. And as a result, we have to try and figure out and balance between convenience versus giving up a lot of our own control and protection of data privacy of our citizens.